Greetings, welcome, Swagatham, Vanakkam. I address the contents of this video particularly to my friends, my brothers and sisters in the great country of United States of America. I wish them well, and I pray that the vision of the founding fathers, namely this country should forever remain like a city set on a hill, may continue to be fulfilled, though this vision is seriously jeopardized at this time. In the last video I made on the 47th President of the United States, namely Donald J. Trump, I pointed out that the time for Donald Trump to begin to be embarrassed is nigh at hand. And at that time, my statement elicited a lot of very adverse reactions, particularly from certain militant Christians in India who think that President Trump is the sole savior of Christianity in the world. A thought that only they can understand, about which I find it hard to make sense of. I'm particularly convinced and all the more concerned that the president of this country, this great country, considered to be the most powerful office on the face of the earth, is willingly, perhaps inadvertently, courting embarrassment. And the series is well begun. But when I said this, some of my friends reacted in a very adverse manner and advised me that I am a stupid fellow as far as international politics is concerned. I don't have the brains to understand this highfalutin stuff, and therefore I should refrain from making any observations or offering any comments on things American. And I should limit myself only to religious matters and maybe to a certain extent the general situation that prevails in Kerala. I am not qualified to comment on international affairs. Well, I have no claims as far as these highly complicated and very sophisticated themes are concerned, but I do have a mustard seed worth of common sense, and I believe in my freedom to make use of it. And those who think that I am doing something improper may please forgive me, but I don't propose to abandon this task. Now, why did I say that President Trump, unfortunately, is heading towards progressive embarrassment? Now, as is now obvious, almost everything that he said, which involved countries or peoples other than America and Americans, has proved wrong. For example, he ordered Hamas to surrender all the remaining captives or hostages at once or face hell. Hamas rejected that order with disdain. And of course, Israel has resumed attacking Gaza, which is a predictable consequence. But the threat of the American president has been made light of, in fact, has been practically ridiculed by Hamas, which is only a rump of what it used to be. The Houthis on their own is cocking their nose at the American might, and they continue to attack Israel and the American fleet and so on and so forth, which can only be very embarrassing. No matter what destruction is rained on the Houthis, the fact is that there is a posture of defiance which the Americans have not been able to tame as yet. Even more embarrassingly, the claim that President Donald Trump would settle the Ukraine-Russia bloodletting the day he assumed office as the president has proved to be pathetically wrong. Not only that, President Putin is now quite obviously ridiculing Trump without stating it as such upfront and treating the authority of Trump with unconcealed contempt. The media may not really put it in that manner, but as a dispassionate observer, this is very clear to me. President Trump, of course, is able to browbeat Zelensky because of his utter helplessness and his abject dependence on American support. But he cannot talk in the same tone to Putin or even to his foreign affairs deputy, Lavrov. So we know what has happened. And if you have noticed, the very arduous and long awaited process of rescuing the two astronauts, Sunita Williams and her fellow astronaut, I forget his name, who had been stuck in the International Space Station for nearly 9 months. That mission was timed. I hope that you've noticed this coincidence, which is not a coincidence at all. So it's a deliberate coincidence, if you like, an oxymoron. That particular saga, that great adventure, was timed to synchronize with President Trump's 2-hour-long telephonic conversation with Putin. Why? Because the attention would then be deflected from the outcome of this very important historic telephonic conversation to this rescue operation, on which global attention was legitimately focused. So that even today we do not know what is the positive outcome of that conversation, that much touted, long awaited conversation lasting not 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours. You tell me what's the positive gain from that long conversation. Has the situation improved? Improved in what sense? For whom? But more than anything else, the real embarrassment for Donald J. Trump will be focused not in Gaza, not in Ukraine, but in another obscure corner of the globe. And that little place, inhabited by about just 50,000 people, is called Greenland. That is where President Trump is going to face the greatest embarrassment of his entire tenure as the President of the United States of America. Mark my words. What did President Trump say about Greenland, which is currently under the authority of the general supervision of Denmark? What did he say? He said that Denmark is so important, geopolitically, strategically so important for America, for the security of America, and in fact for the security of the whole world, that America has no option but to take charge of it. He said, by any means. He said, by any means. It's non-negotiable. And as a matter of fact, by now it's sufficiently clear to me, I don't know if it's clear to others, but it's very clear to me, that all this extravagant, luxurious affection that Donald J. Trump has been lavishing on Putin has two major goals. One is China-centric and the other is Greenland-centric. I don't want to comment on the China-centric aspect of the strategy, which is so obviously disheartening, disconcerting, and even irrational, which can only bring embarrassment to this exalted office. This is not how the President of the United States should be handling the Ukraine-Russia situation. I don't think any other president in the history of that country, the 46 presidents that preceded our man Trump, I don't think anyone else, any of his predecessors, would have handled the situation as Trump has. If you want to understand the secret of this, I think we have to look towards Greenland. Why? Because Greenland is of material interest to Russia. A quarter of Russia's border abuts this region, this Arctic region. And therefore, Putin has perhaps even superior claims to this region than America has. So, Trump's declared intention of taking over Greenland, besides taking over the Panama Canal, he understood only well enough would evoke adverse and hostile response from Putin. And I can tell you one thing for sure, neither Putin nor the Pentagon nor the entire American military establishment, not even the people of America have the gumption to take on Putin. America is terrified of Putin. It's a simple fact. Because playing with Putin would activate the nuclear nightmare. America has the deadliest and the largest collection of nuclear arms in the world. Besides that, Russia also has the adequate delivery system. That's why Russia has been specializing in the recent years and registering incredible progress in missile technology. American missiles, to the extent that I know, are more efficient. Russian missiles, to the extent that I know, are more efficient than their counterparts in the American arsenal. Now, Donald Trump was hoping against hope that Putin would oblige him vis-a-vis Greenland. But Putin being Putin, and I don't think Donald Trump understands him as well as he needs to be understood, Trump reveals himself to be a bit naive. I'm sorry to say this, I have nothing against him. What do I have personally against him? What am I to him? Nothing, less than nothing. But I don't think, I'm afraid Trump does not understand Putin. When it comes to brass tacks, when push comes to shove, Putin will be Putin. And he has already, just yesterday, indicated that America's claim on Greenland will not go uncontested. That is where our man, our friend Trump is going to be embarrassed, and seriously embarrassed. Just wait and see. I can assure you, Donald J. Trump, the 47th President of the United States of America, will have to eat the humble pie in the form of the words that he uttered so confidently and heroically vis-a-vis Greenland. And the real truth of it will come out in the near future. So I again repeat, the process of the incremental embarrassment of Donald J. Trump is now well begun. Things are not going to happen according to the naive script that he has created, a kind of cavalier fashion. And here I cannot refrain from making a comment because of my very feeble historical sense. History tells us one thing, and that is, when a country, when a culture, when a people is declining, their strength will turn against them. And they will expedite their downfall, their decline, to their seemingly most profitable, most attractive, more exciting schemes. They'll invite embarrassments upon themselves, and they'll only expose their weakness by trying to show off their strength. They'll be put to the test. Time and history will put them to the test, and they will be found wanting. And sadly, I have to say, America is going to be found wanting in many respects, in the days ahead. You don't have to wait long for it. Even all this trade war that Trump is trumpeting is nothing but a showcasing of American weakness, though it is packaged in the opposite manner, as though it is showing of America's strength. No, it only shows America's weakness. I'm not an economist, but simple common sense tells me that America will emerge from this not richer, but poorer, not stronger, but weaker, not more respected, but more distrusted. And I think Trump's policy vis-a-vis Europe is the height of foolishness, this suicidal folly. Time will prove, and we may not have to wait long for that to happen. Well, I wish my brothers and sisters in the United States of America all the very best, though my wishes are not strong enough to stall the juggernaut of history. And every nation, every people will have to face up to the consequences of the collective choices that they have made and they continue to make. And no goodwill from anyone or any nation or any people can make the slightest difference. Still, out of my sentimental attachment, I would wish Donald Trump and the people of America all the very best. Jai Hind, God bless America.